Welcome back to Toy Fair 2017 here at BeTerrific.com. My name is Darryl Reed. I'm taking over the show for Michael for a little while. And we have our special guest, Bryan Miller here from Wonder Workshop. And he's going to be telling us all about Dash and Dot. But before we get into that, let's talk about you, Bryan, and some of your background that led to Dash and Dot. You've been in education for over 15 years. My sister's actually a principal, and we were kind of talking about that a little off camera. But tell us what in your background led to exactly this concept of Dash and Dot.
Yeah, so I actually joined the company about a year ago, and I have spent the past 15 years in education as a kindergarten teacher, a K-5 computer teacher, and director of educational technology at the second largest private school in the U.S., which is in South Florida. So I've had a lot of experience in this ed tech world, which led me into speaking professionally about connected toys and play and the importance of bringing play into the classroom through some of these types of toys. Now, using Dash and Dot has been a huge piece of that because it teaches something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is computer science and STEM, and getting children excited at the age of 5 on up on how to start implementing a product like this into their everyday lives.
That's beautiful, that's beautiful. Now tell us exactly what Dash and Dot is and what the differences are between the two and what they do.
Yeah, sure. So Dash and Dot are robots that are programmable using a number of different devices. So we work across Android devices, iPads, and even the Amazon Kindle Fires. And it allows children to go into our 5 free apps that allow them to learn how to code and navigate a digital space in a physical world. Code, yes, computer science.
When you say code, you're talking about writing language?
So we're not teaching them the actual writing language piece, we're teaching them the concepts of coding through visual programming.
Okay.
So we're using things like Blockly, which is drag and drop blocks to build a sequence in a program, to teaching music using our xylophone and teaching them sequencing and looping, and then using a product, an app like our app called Wonder, that is basically finger painting for coding. It allows children to visualize what they want their program to be, drag and drop the different features that Dash and Dot can allow onto their device, and then actually bring it to life in the real world.
Isn't it all about algorithms? Isn't all coding really about algorithms?
Well, it's teaching those concepts of computer science. So algorithms is one of those areas where they're learning algorithms, variables, sequencing, looping. Those are all computer science skills and concepts. We're teaching them how to think that way. So right. Even though they're not learning the actual language component, they're learning how to visualize what their program will look like when they get to that language point.
Exactly. You're giving them a very strong foundation for that. So now what's the difference between Dash and Dot?
Yeah, so Dash is our robot that has wheels. So at the bottom, we allow Dash to move around and interact with the real world by driving around. Dash has a number of different sensors built all around it. So he has distance sensors in the front and back. He has servo motors that allow his head movements to occur. He has microphone and speakers built in as well. And then he has infrared, so it allows the robots to communicate to each other. Where Dot comes into play, Dot has an accelerometer that's built inside, so you program Dot based on movements and gestures. So shaking Dot around will have Dot program and do something differently. You can have Dot even control Dash, so pushing Dot forward may make Dash roll forward. Pulling Dot back will make Dot roll back. So it allows a lot of really cool programming through movement, which is what we want, getting children to get out of being on a physical device like a tablet and start interacting with their physical world.
Now, can Dash and Dot interact separately from each other?
Yeah, so you don't need both of them together to play. They have both different skills and opportunities for using the robots on their own. And in our apps, we have challenges that are built in that will teach the children computer science concepts, but also going through games and activities that teach them those skills. So Dash has their own set, Dot has their own set, and then we have ones that work together as well.
Wow, that's amazing. I just think back to my high school days and where I was learning Corel and C++, and if I would have had a foundation like Dash and Dot, that gave me more of an understanding of the concepts around the computer language and the STEM. I don't know where I'd be right now. I probably wouldn't be on this set right now.
But one of the staggering statistics is by the year 2020, so in just 3 years, there's going to be 1.4 million jobs available in computer science. However, we're only preparing 400,000 graduates with those skills.
Wow.
So what does that mean for us in our economy is we're outsourcing a lot of the skills that we want to have and pretty much at this point on, there won't be a job that won't have some part of computer science involved. And we know not every child's going to go into computer science, but we understand that by teaching them this differentiator for themselves, when they go out into the job market, they're able to set themselves apart from others. Learning a skill and concept that they can apply. And it'll go everywhere, in the food industry services, in science, in math, all these different jobs will allow people who think differently, who are computer science, thinkers, will be able to apply those skills in their jobs.
And I think everyone would agree, everyone out there that's watching and everyone here would agree that technology is moving so quickly.
Yes.
And especially with the internet and all the concepts that have come about from that, you have to have some type of background or foundation in the area.
Exactly, and we're allowing children to learn that foundation. We're in currently 8,500 schools throughout the U.S., so we definitely have an educational impact. We're one of the go-to robots and toys that are in schools in elementary level, K through 5. And we focus a lot of our time and energy in education. We just did our robotics competition, which is an international competition. We had over 15,000 students participate from 27 countries throughout the world.
Wow.
We were giving away $5,000 STEM scholarships to schools for our winners. So we see that this is definitely something that's globally. The Obama administration has done a lot of surveying and has pulled out a lot of statistics and put away $4 billion in computer science money for schools to actually use. And 9 out of 10 parents actually want their children to learn computer science when they're in school. However, 1 out of 10 elementary schools actually teach this skill and concept. So this is a need. This is something that is definitely a priority for our nation, for our continued economic growth.
And that leads right into my next question, because I figured, this concept may be elementary, but it's almost venturing into high school because of what you need to know. And maybe you need a mathematic background before you can start playing with Dash and Dot, but you can tell me more. What's the age group on this?
So our primary focus is kindergarten through 5th grade.
Okay.
So 5 years old through 12 years old. However, you did hit it right on the head where this goes and scales up all the way into high school. Because if you think about it, you have a high school student learning computer science for the very first time. They need the foundation. They need to think and visualize what's happening, so they bring in a product like Dash and Dot that gets them to where they need to be to start to the language program.
Right.
So this is a foundational piece, and it requires no computer science skills necessary, no mathematics or science understanding. The apps do the instructions. So we see putting this in front of children for the very first time, within under 5 minutes, they're programming their first interaction with Dash and Dot.
Now, what about the limitations? Can Dash and Dot continue evolving, or does it have limitations as, maybe I started when I was in kindergarten, used it till 5th grade. Now, am I going to want to continue using it, or does it have limitations?
So I wouldn't call that a limitation. I would call that an opportunity to work towards something different, evolve in their skill set. So we're actually giving them something that scaffolds over the course of 6 years. There really aren't many toys that allow that type of growth. Right. And we use big data to actually change the experiences of the robots. So we learn what the children are doing, we scaffold their interactions with the robots over time, and as they begin to unlock different components within their programming, they're able to learn new skills, which gets us really excited and thinking beyond, our primary age focus of 5 through 12. So we are working on some additional things that will be coming down the road that we're really excited about, that will continue to scale us out into some of the higher ages.
Well, that's great, Brian, that's great. Now, just so everybody gets an understanding, are there different prices for Dash and Dot?
Yeah, so Dash is retailed at $149 and Dot is $49.
Okay.
So the cost is actually quite low for the amount of play and activities that come along with it. We've been around since 2015. In January we launched of 2015. Since then we've done 100 app updates, which means that we're spending a lot of time in the continued development of the capabilities that Dash and Dot are able to do inside of the apps and also as robots themselves. And then we pair them together, and we have accessories that go along with them as well. So we have different ways to dress up the robots. We have a xylophone that attaches to the front of Dash. So as Dash's head moves, he's playing the different parts of the xylophone. We have a launcher that connects to Dash as well. So as Dash's head moves forward, he'll actually launch balls. So we have different activities and games built into our apps, and also lesson plans that we provide educators that they can use to incorporate a lot of the coding concepts into their everyday curriculum. The launcher is a really big positive plus that a lot of people adopt.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, let me ask this. Is Dash and Dot only controlled by the app, or is it also voice controlled?
So it's only controlled by the app.
Okay.
So it's controlled through the app or through touch interaction.
Okay.
So the accelerometers built in allow them to pick it up and have different things happen based on movement. But also there's button presses. It can listen and hear audible cues. So a loud clap may trigger the action that's programmed.
Gotcha.
So it's listening around, but it's not actually voice controlled.
Gotcha. Now let me get some questions from our terrifics out there. So one of the questions out there is Dash, which one is Dash, which one is
This
Dot?
one is Dash here, and then Dot is this one right here.
Okay, so you said you can use them together.
Yes.
And give me an example of how you can use them together.
So the example that I gave was programming them to be the controller for each other.
Okay.
Another one is a very popular one that I like to do is set them up in a maze. So build a maze out on the floor and have Dot located at one end of the maze, and then program Dash to actually drive around. And since they're infrared sensors and they're beacons and they can recognize each other, you can program it so when Dash navigates his way through the maze and scanning and panning out his surroundings, he's able to see if Dot's around and then control and trigger the action based on if they make eye contact.
That's very interesting. This is amazing. This is amazing, Bryan.
Thank you.
Bryan from Wonderworks Workshop, Wonder Workshop, Dash and Dot. Really appreciate you coming by the booth today.
Thank you for having me.
And explaining us. I mean, just try to imagine, getting a foundation of computer science and STEM and your child getting an understanding of those concepts at an early age. It's just amazing. Darryl Reed, BeTerrific.com, here at Toy Fair 2017. We'll be right back.